Welcome to the Benjamin Cardozo School of Law. My name is Pham. I'm the president of the Cardozo Democrat Society. And we are hosting the DNC and Obama for America tonight as we prepare to deliver our testimony, our story, to the delegates who will forge the platform in Denver.
We're not taking care of the children of the very poor in this country. And so what I would like to see is an expansion, a dramatic expansion in the funding for the most successful anti-poverty tool that I know of, which is the Head Start program. I believe we need to increase federal funding so that Head Start can continue to provide quality programming and services to low-income children and families. I believe, finally, that we must expand the care for children from birth to 3. Head Start is actually 3 to 5. Birth to 3 is important because the science is now clear that it's at the earlier stages in a child's development that you can get a child who goes from poverty to Yale or CUNY or to Cardozo. So we must provide funding for that. Thank you very much.
Housing has been forgotten as a major issue in this country and neglected for far too long. A comprehensive platform must be established that will not only address the middle class, but the preservation of all subsidized and low-income housing, as well as the preservation of low to moderate residential communities, which are suffering a 21st century trail of tears of gentrified dismemberment and displacement. Woodrow Wilson had the 14 points. We too have the 14 points of housing advocacy. 1. HUD and Section 8 programs must be fully funded. 2. Adopt legislation to save at-risk HUD multifamily housing. 3. Support rent reform such as the Section 8 Voucher Reform Act. 4. Stop the unconstitutional forced community service requirement against residents in public housing. Slavery ended 146 years ago. We don't want it back. Force HUD, public housing authorities, and landlords to respect low-income residents' property rights. What they did to people's property in New Orleans in public housing was a disgrace. Stop constructing evictions and protect housing for seniors, disabled, AIDS victims, returning veterans, and new families. Number 10, support strong oversight of HUD and the HUD corruption and abuse of power. 11, a moratorium on further demolitions of public housing and support the right of return for displaced residents. 12, end privatization of subsidized housing and gentrification of HUD-assisted housing, control the abuse of eminent domain. 13, a 5-year plan to eradicate homelessness in the United States and the decriminalization of homeless victims. And last, 14, ratify the right to adequate housing with a new national housing bill instead of QIRA, and support the ratification of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights to establish adequate housing as a human right in the United States. And finally, I would like to say, we tell all politicians, please don't use the words affordable housing anymore. You'll get your feelings hurt. We're talking today about low targeted income housing. What's affordable to Donald Trump is not affordable to me, to the rest of us. Thank you.
I came here 10 years ago as a refugee from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And when I was granted my status, it came with a HIP card, HIP, and a benefit card. Side note, my status has changed a while back. I remember asking, why do I need these cards? All I needed was a status. But this was a package. I told my interviewer I didn't need this benefit card. She explained to me that both cards were meant to help me temporarily until I get myself situated. The HIP card was for hospital emergencies, and the benefits card was for grocery shopping. Wow, I was very stunned. I told her, I will take the HIP card, or I will not take the benefit card. And she looked at me and said, don't be stupid. Confusion was written all over my forehead. I took the cards and went home, and promised myself to use them for a short while. Well, I never used the benefit card, and I was making $200 a week then. One day, I was totally broke, $10 to my name, and I needed food to last me for a week. And $10 was not enough. Now, when I got to pay for my groceries, there were 7 other people behind me. And I told the lady, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna pay for this stuff. I only have $10 on me. I forgot my wallet at home. So, my point being is, I couldn't use these cards because I was ashamed. And many citizens' lives depend on these cards solely, 100%.
We have seen countrywide demonstrations of immigrant workers and their families to demand rights and justice and dignity. But 2 years after, we really don't see them anymore, as if they have all disappeared and gone underground.
You hear stories, and we hear stories from Hugh about how he's a homeless veteran. And when we hear stories from Yanduba about how she had to stand in line with all of these mothers who were relying on public assistance for basic food every day. When I graduate from this law school and I see a $100,000 debt bill for my education, it's hard to look forward when these things are staring you in the face. It's really difficult to look forward. But we've done this before. President Roosevelt looked forward during the Depression, and he gave us the New Deal. He gave us a revolutionary program that saved this country. When we faced a technology race that may have doomed our security, President Kennedy looked forward in a socially tumultuous time and gave us the Apollo project, which gives us a lot of the advantages technologically and economically that we have today. We need an Apollo project for energy, a real serious Apollo project, not just a buzzword for alternative energy or get everyone to buy hybrid cars or put solar panels on their roof, but we need to fundamentally change how we live in the United States of America. And this needs to be put forward by the Obama administration as an Apollo-type project, as a New Deal-type project. When Saudi Arabia in 2020 has completed 15 cities that it will build out of the sand called knowledge economic cities, if we don't change, our game will be behind. When Abu Dhabi invests $200 million by the end of this year in solar technology so they don't have to use their own oil because they realize the spigot's going to die, we're going to be in trouble. Please, when you go to Denver, make sure that it's just not a buzzword. It's just not something that can be pushed to the side when it gets hard to confront these problems in the face. We need an Apollo project for energy.